Alright, and welcome back everyone to China in Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. Um, I can only imagine. I'm recording the two episodes the same night. I can only imagine the absolute shitfest in the comments after the last video where I literally kind of, yeah. I just talked for 30 minutes. But I'm excited. I'm actually really hyped about this. I really wanted to play this faction. And it was kind of funny because one of the things that I identified early in this patch was China was going to be a difficult nation to play. And yes, it is a very difficult nation to play if you're playing it the vanilla way of playing. But if you play it the way you think I might be able to pull it off here, then it can be an absolute wild ride. And yeah, we're going to have some fun. So let's go ahead and we're going to start working on growing our fleet. The first thing we're going to focus on is getting our battleships up and running. We want to get around 8 of these bad boys. I said 6 originally, but I think the number is going to be closer to 8 when combined with a cruiser escort, which we are going to want cruisers to escort these things just from the perspective of drawing fire and just being a nuisance to the enemy. But it's going to be imperative that we are really just driving it home. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna run a few turns real quick. We're gonna build up a cash stack real fast, and we're gonna start working towards getting our fleet built. I think we might be able to queue up 2 of these now. Oh, perfect. Perfection. Oh, let's go. So we'll get those queued up. We'll go ahead and we're just going to throw them on into Shanghai. Let's go. We'll go ahead and put them unlimited. Now, you might be wondering, okay, why do I have the torpedo boats on in being? Why am I paying the extra little cash to have these torpedo boats out in the water? And the reason being is because, again, if the enemy wants to get froggy, I want my defensive ships already in a defensive posture, ready to go, so I don't have to cycle a turn. A lot of people don't know this about this game, but everything runs off the turn system. So, like, for example, if I click on this harbor and I want to put these guys on defensive, I have to cycle a turn, and then it gives the enemy the chance to attack stuff without these ships actually interfering. It is in the background. It is a thing. It's just kind of the way you have to kind of play the game. So having ships on in being already is kind of a big deal. Eventually, these cruisers will all be on in being. The only reason why they're not right now is because we're saving them. We're kind of just holding back, trying to make sure that our budget's good, that we're able to make money, that we're able to do things, and so on and so forth. Oh, yes. Oh, baby. Let's go. Okay, so I said I wanted to push for switching national governments, but getting free, I don't care about the prestige. Prestige is easy to get. But getting a free 1% naval budget is big. That's very big. All right, so our transport capacity, we're already over 125%, so we're doing good here. Tech budget, yeah, we're looking pretty freaking good. Now, one of the other things is with this play style, and hold on, I need a drink. All right, so with this play style, we want to focus as hardcore. I would love to do this, but I don't want to take on rest. So, yeah, we'll take a relation hit. Malaysia. Yes, we will come take. We will make you ours. What do you mean? Let's send our cruisers down there. We're gonna send. We'll send both squadrons just to just to make sure that we take it, because we want to take Sarawak. Sarawak has oil. It's got a decent population. It has a decent little bit of income. It's going to be good to just take. And any bit of land we can take early away from the other colonial powers is going to be a big deal. So we definitely want to do that. But I lost my train of thought there. But yes, fact of the matter is that, if we can get that switch after we do a war, we can really see whether or not this game is truly worth it. And mind you, a lot of people, I just realized we have an alliance with Canada. It's actually not a bad ally, funny enough. A lot of people might not realize this, but Canada is the only nation. It's the only nation we can ally with early. Because Malaysia is always going. There are certain factions like Thailand, Malaysia, and a couple others. I forget who they are, but they almost always get invaded. I don't know why. They never ally with anybody, so they always get invaded. And Indonesia doesn't exist yet, so we can't. Oh, yeah, this is Portugal. So we can't ally with them because they don't exist. And so Canada's actually one of, I guess the Koreans, of course, but the Koreans, they choose between Japanese or Chinese, and sometimes they will go Chinese or Japanese. Actually, let's see, have they chosen an ally yet? No, they have not chosen a great power to back, so that's cool. Let's go ahead and continue building relations. But yeah, Canada's actually kind of a good ally because they can actually come help us. The Koreans would be the best ally because they would literally be able to, like, if we don't end up taking their lands, they could be the key to our defensive strategy. And then, of course, the Indonesians, when they start popping up, because eventually they will start popping up, they'll take a few territories off of the Dutch East Indies, and then at that point in time, they will get quite powerful. Indonesia coming into the fold is actually quite potent for China if China can secure them. Oh, I'm trying to... I just did that. I'm trying to type on my phone using my keyboard. Oh my god. All right, so Canada wants a battleship. Can we do it? Oh, we can do it. Oh, fuck yeah. Okay, yeah, that's going to pay out so much money. Like, it's only 83%, but that's still good. That's still really good. Anything over 80% or more for battleships is good. A lot of people, they will complain. They'll be like, oh, I only build at 100%, or I only build at 110%, or I only do this thing. But early, we're not using our dockyard capacity. Now, yes, we could be building more torpedo boats, but I really don't want to build more torpedo boats. I want to build destroyers. That's why we're rushing destroyers. Because if we can get destroyers early, we're going to have a tech advantage out the wazoo. The same way the Japanese had a real-life tech advantage. A little history lesson for all of you. The Japanese freaking defined the naval race. A lot of people will give the Brits a lot of credit for the Dreadnought. They will give them a lot of credit for the fact that they really just defined big naval ship warfare. But the problem is that is not where the modern era was gonna go. Anybody with a single brain cell saw where things were going as soon as aircraft carriers became a thing. Naval warfare changed very quickly, very early. A lot of people don't realize this. It was World War I when they were testing aircraft carriers. It wasn't World War II when they became a thing. It was World War I. Battleships and all of the big gunships in their totality were obsolete by World War I. The only reason why they still had a presence in World War II, real quick, let's take a look at this. No, we're not reducing my budget. Screw you. The only reason why battleships still had a presence and an effect on World War II was because we didn't have enough aircraft carriers. That's actually that's the whole fact. It's kind of sad. It's kind of like a somber telling of the history, but it's the truth. If you look at where the Iowa class battleships are right now, actually, if you've visited the Iowa class battleships, I visited the USS Wisconsin in Norfolk Naval Yard, or outside of Norfolk Naval Yard, back in 2019. And when I was there, I was astonished to see Tomahawk launchers on the ship. Those big guns, they were powerful, they were potent. They were good. They could pay the butcher's bill. But the problem is that at the end of the day, there were long-range strike capabilities that nobody could foresee during this time period, and aircraft carriers are where that long-range strike capability began. We're gonna take the Prestige and Unrest hit there. One of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that at least going into the Cold War, is that guided missile destroyers, guided missile frigates, anything that could have missiles strapped to it that were guided, was a instant sell, because oh crap, we can get hits on targets at ranges far in excess of what these big guns can reach. And oh, by the way, it's nigh impossible to shoot them down. Now, of course, things have changed. For example, the Russians have developed the let's go ahead and do that. The Russians have developed a counter battery radar for the S-400 that basically negates guided missiles. I believe they have it has somewhere around the region of a 97% interception rate, which, by the way, a lot of people don't realize. Anything over a 90% interception rate is good. Does it sting when something gets through? Yes, of course. But war is war. You're gonna have shit blow up. It's not something you can avoid. It's not something you can, be like, oh, well, we need to prevent this. Unfortunately, that's how civilians think. Any military planner that's worth his salt will be like, well, crap. We couldn't stop that one. Now, the thing to understand about these more and more advanced radars as a whole is the more advanced they get, the more ridiculously the things you can do with them. For example, the United States is home of one of the largest defensive nuclear missile arsenals in the world. Yes, the Russians have the largest nuclear arsenal in the world. However, the Americans, we kind of broke a few treaties. Let's just say that. The ABM treaty. And we said we're going to build a defensive missile network. Well, here's the problem with that defensive missile network. It was very good 20 years ago. The problem is that, well, the Russians decided, okay, well, if you're going to break this treaty, then we're going to break the other treaty too, because fuck it, tit for tat. And we're going to develop a missile that can strike you from the other direction. This would be the Sarmat 2. A lot of people don't really know about it yet. For some reason, I've actually known about its development for a few years now. It wasn't a well-kept secret, really, because the Russians were talking about bringing it online since we left the ABM treaty, which I believe was 2013, 2014, somewhere in that region, is when we left that treaty. When we left the anti-ballistic missiles treaty, it really, really set the Russians off, because they're like, hey, bud, don't think you're going to be able to get a free shot in. Don't think that. And so the Russians developed a missile that could strike from the other direction. And by the way, all the defensive radars that the U.S. built to defend against a strike from the North Pole, yeah, they're worthless against a strike from the South Pole, because one, the Sarmat is faster. It gets into a flight pattern that the majority of the radar systems that we have in the U.S. cannot detect and track properly. And on top of that, none of our missiles are capable of shooting it down, because, well, it deploys at a much further range than what our missiles are tuned for. We're tuned for, shit that's dropping basically overhead. That this shit can, yeah, they deploy a lot further out. So, yeah, missiles really defined naval warfare coming into this era. They really defined it, and a lot of people weren't ready for it. And speaking of defining warfare, we are finishing up and commissioning our first 2 battleships, and we're going to go ahead and queue up our next 2. What's Shanghai looking like tonnage wise? Let's go ahead and let's just throw 4 and 4. 4 in Shanghai, 4 in Hangzhou, just to kind of split it up a little bit. And we're making good money off of the ships we're building. We're balancing the budget quite well. We're in a perfect position. And this is how you have to play your low income nations until you're able to swap your government types. Now, you might be asking, how do I plan on swapping the government type? It's going to be a chore. Early on, I kind of have to just play it by ear, play it, back and forth, try to do whatever I can to kind of just balance things. But later on, when we can actually make a move, after I got the naval prestige to actually do it, oh, you bet your brother that I'm going to be making the jump. Because it's just going to be beneficial to get rid of some of these modifiers. All right. So, let's actually look at our politics real quick. Oh, yeah, we're doing freaking fantastic, actually. Nothing bad going on there. Let's go ahead and queue up the last 2 of the battleships. And we are looking pretty... So this will give us basically almost 90,000 tons worth of ships from the battleships, and then we will build once we get the oh shite, we went over. I've given her a little too much, Captain. We gotta hold off until this bad boy finishes real quick. But what this is going to allow us to do is, as soon as we can finish up the battleships, then we can get the cruisers, the extra cruisers deployed for this force. And at that point in time, we're sitting pretty. We're sitting at over 100K of invasion tonnage, which allows us to then go on the offense, which then allows us to do nutty things to the Japanese. The Chinese are coming for revenge. All right, so we want to make sure the Chinese don't recover relations whatsoever. We actually want to keep antagonizing them whenever they get close to -50. Right now they're kind of even keel, but I think the reason why they're even keel is because we do have forces out in the water, and so they're not wanting to recover their standing with us, because they're like, oh, well, these assholes have too many boats near our borders. It's like, well, that's how the water works. let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and we'll just poke at the Germans. We have territories that we're gonna want to take from the Germans eventually, anyways. Tsingtao is kind of a big deal. Then also the stuff down here in North Oceania is going to be important to take as well. Every little bit of income is going to be what we need in order to really thrive. Taking Laos, Thailand is going to be a big deal. Taking all of Indochina is going to be a big deal. Taking Burma is going to be a big deal. Taking Malaya, taking Singapore, taking North Borneo, whatever the hell this is, Brunei, or Brunei. It's going to be, taking the Philippines. We're just going to want to eat up this entire region just in an attempt to be able to grow our economy. Because the more mass we've got, the more money we're going to make. The more money we make, the more ships we can build. And that's the goal, is the more we can do, the more we're going to fuck up the world. Sorry, just laughing at some messages in a group chat that I'm part of. But yes, the whole goal is to really just kind of ramp it up, get the aggression on, get it flowing as quickly as possible, but then just being able to keep the economy in order as much as possible. Oh, they want another one, and they're paying good money for it. Frack, I gotta do it. I gotta do it. I just gotta do it, I gotta do it. Welcome to Tony's Pizza. Anybody gets that reference, you watch a good streamer. Probably one of the best streamers, actually, funny enough. You're currently here? Why are you here? You should not be here. Probably, maybe, I don't know. Do you want to be here? I don't know. Alright, let's go ahead and let's negotiate some money out of it. Shit, fuck yeah, that right there is perfect. The more cash we put in the bank, the better. We don't have inflation. The only inflation is technology. Alright, so we are... okay, so we're about to finish these up, and then we'll be able to get these bad boys back on the burner and be able to get that building. And we're making a crap ton of money. Let's go ahead and turn this up. We're going to turn it up to 50%. Start letting the sailors train up. We're about to turn this down, so that's going to be good. All right, and I apologize for that. My roommate's calling me and being annoying little bastards, and I love them. All right, so we're about to hit 1892. We're about to finish up that first run of Dockyard expansion. This is shaping up really well, and this is the strategy: is build small, but build potent. We're gonna have 8 battleships. We're going to have around, I think I'm going to do 6 cruisers per group. We're going to have a good amount of firepower that we can put out into the ocean and actually do things with without spending a shit ton of money initially. And we got 152 million in the bank already because we managed to get an ally who's actually wanting to buy ships. So it's kind of a big fucking deal. Also, I think I'm gonna not yeah, I'm probably not going to edit out that interruption, just from the point of view of fuck it. I just don't care. I do need to get an editor. I've been thinking about things and thinking about what I want to do to continue with this whole escapade of mine. Let's go ahead and look. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now, because this is not a cruiser-only gameplay or playthrough, we are not doing the whole building year by year rather than going every 2 years. We're going every 2 years because we are building battleships. We are going to be building a lot of battleships. But let's go ahead and get our first 6 cruisers for our strike forces built up. Let's go ahead and pop these into Shanghai. Turn them on limited. And, of course, because we have money in the bank, we can afford to burn some cash. And that's just going to lead to very, very good things. Yes, I understand you might be a little miffed that this campaign is going to be a little slower than what you would expect. But I assure you, by 1894, we're going to start eating some Japanese people. Wait. I do not condone cannibalism.